Hi everyone, Shane Stevenson, and for this video, again with Lucas here, and you know what? If you watched our stem to stern archaeological trek through the USS Little Rock, this is the second episode, and Lucas and I were talking after that episode got published, and we are back down here because there's another thought process that Lucas said, hey, we need to get back down there, and he wanted to verify some things. So we are now in the Mount 51 5-inch space, originally turret 62, and we are just aft of the actual handling space with the hoists that you saw in episode 2, and we are back in this convoluted space. We were here before. You see the racks for the projectiles, you know, things just on the ground. But we saw a lot of welds, a lot of door welds. And Lucas, want to tell me what kind of spurred this conversation, or why you wanted to come back down to this space, and some theory that, and the evidence to back that up?
Yeah, well, I mean, this space is very interesting because there's just so much going on.
There is.
There are 6 blanked over doors, and today 2 of them have been reopened, I guess is the best word to say it. And so there's just
unwelded. So
much going on here that we just missed some of it at the time.
Yeah.
I actually noticed when I was editing, the thing that really stood out to me was this plaque here. I think when we were first talking about it, I said it was a 6-inch stowage space.
Okay.
But when I was editing, I saw it's actually a 5-inch projectile stowage space, A515M, on the other side of this now filled-in door. And that got me wondering, why would a 5-inch projectile stowage be here?
When it originally was a 6-inch, and why is the door there when it's right next to another door? So you have, you started mentioning about, the ship USS Little Rock did have a 1947 dry dock period from March 1st through June 28th or June 29th. So that's 4 months of an overhaul period, 2 years after her service. And that's when one of the seaplanes came off from one of the catapults on the starboard side. We've talked about that before. But this could have been the beginning of a conversion from the 6-inch into the 5-inch.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence here to suggest that at some point this space didn't feed forward to the 6-inch hoist, it fed backwards into what was the 5-inch powder spaces. I mean, first and foremost, right here we have this circular weld mark, and it's about the same size and directly across from the modern 5-inch pass-through that now feeds into the 5-inch going here. So that's clue number 1. And of course, clue number 2 is calling this space a 5-inch projectile stowage over a door that's not here anymore.
Right.
So the big question is, why is there a door here at all? If you're entering the space here through the original 6-inch passage, why do you need to move the door from closer to this bulkhead across to closer to that bulkhead? And I think it's because in 1947 they might have sealed this door and just deleted this space as a 6-inch powder room.
Now that would be after World War II. Maybe they don't need to have as much powder. And we know that we've seen a large powder space that was divided forward. So maybe after World War II they didn't need to carry as much ammunition. They certainly probably went down and shipped complement, shipped company, and that's where the 1947 comes in with that 4-month overhaul.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it's 1947 is hidden behind this shell rack. There is a plaque back here that reads 5-inch powder magazine A516M. Today, the other side of this wall is the
Electrical parts.
Yeah, the electric repair parts stowage. So at some point, there is a door here that leads into the 5-inch powder magazine. And that can only happen in the 40s. Because
in 1960 it became the electrical repair stowage space
That's
that
right.
you saw in another stem to stern video with all the, with all the compartments for all the parts. So that's what convinces me as well that that's the original, say 1947. It's now, after 2 years of being a 6-inch space, it's now a 5-inch space. They just didn't bother removing the stamp in 1960. And so that at some point became, and we know that those are the 3 handling rooms all right in a row for 51, 52, and 53 in the 40s.
But that still doesn't explain
Correct.
why this door is here. So what I think is happening is the Navy is trying their best to be as efficient with this space as possible. So to do that, you need the doors as close together as they can be. So when this was a 6-inch space, the door is on the forward bulkhead. So the 2 doors to lead into the adjacent rooms are right next to the forward bulkhead. But when they seal this and start entering the room through here, now the closest point the doors can be are against this bulkhead
And
that
on
bulkhead.
the port side over there as well. So now it's taking away this little extra space here, because this goes to this door. This would go to that door as they're heading aft. And it's just that little extra efficiency that you were speaking of.
Yeah, and the one final thing, over on this bulkhead, just like this blank door, there is another plaque hidden by the rack here that also says that it is a 5-inch projectile stowage. So we know at some point these 3 rooms were all 5-inch projectile stowage. And we know that they had to have been feeding back into the powder spaces. So, just to recap, quick timeline. 1945, this is a 6-inch powder magazine.
Leading forward.
Leading forward, and we know this because of Miami plans, because we have the original door here with the pass-through bell, and all the doors are where they should be. But then 1947 comes along, and they delete this space as a 6-inch, and they convert it into a 5-inch projectile stowage to feed back into the 5-inch magazines. And then 1960 rolls around, and this is already a projectile stowage. So instead of converting one of the other spaces, they just fill in these doors again, reopen these 2, and move the shells to this bulkhead.
Where the rack is.
Yeah, where the rack is today.
Yes, and then on the other side of this bulkhead becomes the electrical repair shop, right, with repair parts, Wow, that's really going into, as you said earlier, complicated space. For just a small space, it's a complicated space. If we turn around the camera, we have another welded door. So maybe we'll cover that in another video. So we have one open over here, one sealed. On this side, on starboard, port, they're both sealed. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Lucas and I are working great together. Thanks to Ryan for doing the filming and being there for us into the later hours of the evening, so to speak. And Lucas and I will actually be doing some work on the croaker at some point over the next coming months. And please be on the lookout for those. Lucas, thanks for being here again. Really appreciate it. And thanks for all of your work. And you know what? What are we going to do? Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, get notified, and we will see you again soon.